Well, Tom, this was as close to must-win as you felt for the Bears. You rarely get a Packers team without Aaron Rodgers. How did they not win this game?
Well, I would first say to you, this was as close to a Trestman-era loss as I've felt since the Mark Trestman, the second year of his tenure, when that team was totally lost. This is inexcusable. I have no explanation for this. You come out of the bye flat as a pancake. The penalties were a huge problem in the first half, 6 or 7 penalties in the first half, missed tackles, mental mistakes, at home against the Packers team that is very, very limited because of their own injuries. This was a game that made me nervous before it kicked off, but it was still a game I thought this Bears team could win and should win, a game they could and should win. And unfortunately, this will go down as one of the more difficult losses of the last 2+ years.
And you talk about mental mistakes. We even saw it from John Fox with that bizarre challenge call and what was going on there.
I just didn't know what the rush was. They had the ball at the very least at the 2-yard line. It was a long kind of developing play. Why not let things breathe a little bit? And next thing you know, the challenge flag had been thrown. Now, I don't know if it was coming from upstairs and they said you have to challenge, or John just decided kind of in the spur of the moment, he saw up on the big screen that Penny Cunningham didn't look like he stepped out of bounds and decided to throw the flag. I just didn't understand why there was such a rush to throw the challenge flag, and then ultimately a huge momentum-changing play in the game in the first half.
Among the difficult things to understand about this game for sure, Mitch Trubisky said the penalties were about a lack of focus. Is that what you saw from this offense?
Yes, but you can't have that. You can't have a lack of focus when you are coming off the bye. That's why this one stings so much for me as I'm sitting at home watching this game, and I'm suggesting to myself, okay, they're gonna find their way. They'll find their rhythm. And it was flat from the opening snap. There were mental mistakes, as I mentioned, and then those mental mistakes eventually they morph into physical mistakes. Now, we could sit here also and talk about the offensive line injuries they've had. Danny Trevathan is a huge loss. But the Green Bay Packers were playing their backup quarterback. And oh, by the way, their starting quarterback is arguably the second best quarterback that we've seen in this league in the last 20 years.
Yes.
So I don't want to hear conversation about injuries being something that derailed this Bears team. As I said, this is an inexcusable performance for a team at home against a division rival that has owned you for quite some time.
What did you think of Trubisky, the way he came out of the bye week? They wanted to open things up and didn't really do that.
I thought there was some good and there was some bad. He still looks like he's not real comfortable in the pocket, and that can be a direct result of the number of hits he's taking. The offensive line has not really protected him. Some of these sacks, though, are his faults. He's either not getting the ball away or he's not feeling the pressure. He makes some really good throws, and then you'll see him sail the football. He's inaccurate at times. But look, I don't want to be too hard on the kid. This is his 5th career NFL start, and he does have it, as we've talked a lot, a limited group with him in that offensive huddle. I didn't like the play calling for over the course of the game. I didn't like the body language of the team. I didn't like the lack of composure. I didn't like the quarterback play at times. There was really not much that I did like about what I saw today.
So John Fox says he hasn't worried about job security ever. He's not going to start now. Should he be worried?
Well, I mean, look, he's been doing this for an awful long time. If you're asking me, how does this game, the outcome of this game, and the way this game transpired, how does it affect his job security here in Chicago? It can't help. Again, and let's look at it. You come out of the bye against a division rival. That division rival is starting Brett Hundley, not Aaron Rodgers. You're at home. You cannot allow your team to come out and be flat and undisciplined. And oh, by the way, I've been a huge fan of this defense for good reason.
Yes.
When they needed a stop today, they didn't get it.
Right.
You know, you have a backup quarterback, you have a third-string running back, and a couple of offensive linemen that have been mixed and matched. And when you needed to get off the field in the 4th quarter, they couldn't get off the field. So as good as they've been over the course of the first 8 weeks of this season, I did not think this was their best day. Now, again, you hold any team to 23 points and you keep your team in the game.
No doubt.
But with the limitations this Bears offense has, they have to ask more from the defense. And in crunch time, they gave up 10 points in the 4th quarter. And I thought the crusher was you know, I wouldn't think it was a 10 or 12 play, 75-yard drive for a touchdown in the fourth quarter. It just felt like it broke their back.
Yeah, they just didn't seem to have that energy that defense went into the bye week having, and which gave everybody so much confidence. So ultimately, you talk a lot about the play calling. How responsible do you hold Dow Loggins for that? John Fox, where does that responsibility lie?
I think it's the responsibility of the offensive coordinator to look at what his team can do and what they can't do, what they do well and what they don't do well, and try to accentuate what they do well and try to eliminate some of the things that they struggle with. And that's, I think, why the bye came at such a really good time, an opportunity to self-scout and maybe devise some things that can help Mitchell out as a rookie quarterback. And I thought the first drive of the game was more of the same. Second drive of the game, we saw more shotgun formation. We saw them running the ball out of shotgun formation. We did see some bunch routes. We only saw Mitch really get outside the pocket on 2 occasions. One was a 30-plus yard completion to Adam Shaheen. It was a quick ball, and then Adam took off with it. The other time we saw was another play where he rolled to his left, and he should have thrown the football. He didn't. He took the sack. Point I'm making is there were 2 plays that were there to be made with Mitchell getting out on the edge, and we only saw that play called twice. Maybe it's time to use that play a little bit more often. And we've talked quite a bit recently that defenses know that play's coming.
Absolutely.
But you still have to have it as part of your arsenal. So, again, too many running plays that ended up going for negative yards. You get behind the sticks, and now you're asking a rookie quarterback with limited weapons out on the edge to go second and long, third and long, and it doesn't work well.
Yeah, they certainly put themselves in really challenging situations all day long. How angry is Virginia McCaskey?
If she's as angry as I am right now, then she's a very angry woman. We know, based on some of the things she's said over the last couple of years, how important this rivalry is to her. I can't imagine she's happy, especially when you factor in all that we talked about. Coming off a bye, getting a chance to rest and heal up a little bit. You're facing a Packers team without Aaron Rodgers. You're at home. It's a game you have to win.
You mentioned the offensive line unavailability from Kyle Long. Is that shocking this deep in the season that he's still not able to be out there?
Yeah, I mean, he's an enormously tough character. There's no doubt. I never doubt Kyle Long's toughness. He's just had some really difficult luck with injury. You know, you zoom out and you look at that offensive line, they haven't played well, and their rookie quarterback isn't making life easy on them. Some of these sacks, I think, if you look closer at the film, Mitchell Trubisky's going to have to share some of the responsibility. But if you take an even further wider, or a wider angle look at this thing, you've got a lot of money tied up in this offensive line. You signed Charles Leno Jr. to an extension. Bobby Massey was given some cash. Josh Sitton is not cheap. Kyle makes a good bit of change as well. You've got a lot of your salary cap or a lot of money tied into this offensive line that at this time they're really not. They're not playing at a high level, and a lot of that's because guys are banged up.
It certainly stings for this team because it was so optimistic. You can't set the tone for the second half in a game like this. What do you take moving forward? Try to salvage these last few weeks.
Well, you put this one away. You look at it. You see what you did wrong. You assume responsibility for the mistakes, but you can't dwell on it. You have a more explosive Detroit Lions team coming to town next week. So, look, it's an opportunity each and every Sunday to go out there and get a little bit better and prove your worth. So as a football player, I think you have to kind of decide who you want to be. Are we going to make sure we're in our playbooks and we're prepared on Sunday and we're going to make amends for the mistakes that we made the previous week, or are we going to continue to live with mediocrity? My hope is the 53 guys up at Hallis Hall will look at this film tomorrow and decide this isn't who they want to be.
I'm legit mad.
I am too.
Like, I'm mad. I'm so disappointed.
I am too. Again, you get an opportunity. Your biggest division rival comes to town, and they're banged up, and you're coming off a bye, and they're starting Brett Hundley, and you end up losing this game 23-16. That doesn't leave me feeling very good about things.
I'm done. We're done for today. Thank you, Tom.
You're
we
welcome.
did the best we could.
Yes, we did.